This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the LG Revolution 4G LTE phone on Verizon that will be available May 26th. Verizon didn't give much notice for this phone after showing it off at CTIA and saying it was coming sometime this year, and then lo and behold, they announced it, and 2 days later it's going to be available for sale. It's going to cost $249 with a 2-year contract, and it has LTE, full LTE, 4G, 4.3-inch display, very sharp and bright. I'm not sure if this is IPS like its little brother, the LG G2X on T-Mobile. We'll compare those so you can see them. The LG G2X has a 4-inch display. Certainly a similar design aesthetic. Soft touch finish, the metal strip across the back. Nice curvy modern looking phone. And of course this has the usual goodies you would expect from any high-end smartphone these days. 800 by 480 resolution. They didn't go for QHD, alas, but still beautiful display. We have Wi-Fi 802.11bgn, Bluetooth 3.0, and a GPS. Micro SD card slot, and Verizon ships it with a 16 gig card installed. And it has HDMI out. Now if we take a look inside the phone, we pop the back off, the whole back removes. You can see here is your 4G SIM card slot. This is not a world roaming SIM card slot, this is just for 4G LTE. Here's your micro SD card, and you do need to pull the battery out, unfortunately, if you want to remove that card. And here's the 1500 milliamp battery in the back. As we continue to walk around the phone, of course, here's the earpiece up here. Front-facing 1.3 megapixel video chat camera. Capacitive touch buttons over here that work just fine. Chrome trim on the sides, and this is your volume controls right here, and underneath this little fiddly door is the HDMI port. And we'll open that up. And you can see there's a micro HDMI port underneath. And on the other side we have similar cover, and that is your micro USB port. Up top is your 3.5mm headphone jack, power button, where it belongs. And nothing on the bottom except for the microphone hole. And this is your grab spot here to yank off the back. On the back we have the camera lens. It's a 5 megapixel autofocus camera with an LED flash over here. It takes reasonably good pictures and can shoot 720p video. Now, as current trade-off seems to be, you can either get a dual-core phone or you can get an LTE phone. You can't get them both in the same phone. So unlike the Optimus 2X, this is a single-core 1 gigahertz Snapdragon phone. It's a 2nd gen Snapdragon CPU with Adreno 205 graphics, so it's quite a good performer. We did notice some occasional hesitations and lags on the phone, but nothing too much to complain about, and it scored a phenomenal 2048 on Quadrant, which is very good for a single core phone. And in LinPack we got 39.1, which puts it near the top of the pack for non-modified stock phones. So you won't be hurting for speed when it comes to this phone. This is running Froyo, Android 2.2.2, and LG has customized the user interface. As you can see here, you've got this quick launcher down here at the bottom, take your phone contacts, messaging, and apps. And the icons are pretty much stock Android, so they haven't changed things as much as, say, Samsung's TouchWiz user interface does. They have organized things for you here, though. We start out with things that are related to communication, news and search, media, and you'll notice Netflix is built in. Yay! This now makes the 6th phone you can use with Netflix for Android. And here we have tools, and these are all the built-in applications here. Anything you install gets put at the very bottom under downloads. And we also have applications over here. But if you don't like these categories, or would like to see your application be in a different category, you can do that. Just tap the menu button, and you can hit Manage App, and you can move things around or delete them. Obviously anything that's built into ROM you can't delete, but say I'd rather have speed test be in my applications, you can just drag it right to applications and hit back to exit out of that. Likewise, if I don't like a category, I can edit it, delete it. So that's a nice little touch. And once I was done with that, I see all my little category headers here, but where did my icons go? Apparently it collapses them for you, and if you tap on it, you can bring those back up again, so you can have collapsible categories. You can also switch to list view. That's an unusual amount of customization from a stock manufacturer shipping phone for your Android application launcher screen. You can see the home screen's customized. You have a little indicator over here that shows you which of the 7 screens you're on at the moment. By default, it ships with this really nice little AccuWeather weather and flip clock widget, a little reminiscent of HTC there, but nonetheless very pretty, very useful. And we've got, guess what folks, Bing search is back on Verizon, and it is here on the LG Revolution. Last few phones we looked at, they had gone back to Google search, but we have Bing here. Have no fear, you can download and install tools to work with Google search, but the default search is going to be Bing. Likewise, we have Bing Maps pre-installed. And of course the usual Verizon goodies, which include VZ Navigator, useful spoken turn-by-turn directions and navigation, VCast, applications, stuff to manage your Verizon account, all the usual things. This is a nice little custom widget from LG. It's a multimedia circular viewer here, and it links to your music, playlist if you have any, and you get album art if the item happens to have album art. Photos, quick look to your photos, and then the video player. Let's test out the video player. This is a 720p video that we're playing right now, fairly high bit rate. And it has no problem playing it. Again, nice display. Might not be as exciting as the Droid Charges Super AMOLED Plus display, but it's very nice, very sharp, colorful, and bright. So that works just fine. And we've got the little Dolby Mobile enhancement here. And while we're looking at video playback, we're now taking a look at the Netflix application, which happily does work on the phone, and we are going to play a video over LTE. We have about 2 bars of signal, not a super strong signal, but generally LTE is so darn fast that that's fine. We've been seeing 9 meg downloads even with a fairly weak signal. So here it is, streaming over the LTE network. You can see it dropping some frames, freezing a little bit here and there, but overall it's quite smooth. And the quality is nice too. Netflix auto senses your connection and adjusts the bitrate of the video it's streaming, so. Okay, now we're in Ookla's speedtest.net application, which has become the standard for measuring download and upload speeds on Android and also on iOS. And like I said, we don't have the best signal here, but we'll see what we can get. That is amazingly good. We're hitting 11 meg download. Upload is a little sluggish right now here. And we have about a 99 dB signal for those of you who know what that means, which is not a very strong signal. So there it is. Now you can see from our results list that we've done recently, we had just now the 11 megs download, 875K up, not too impressive. Before that we got 12 megs down and over 3 megs up, and 12.6 megs down and 4.8 megs up. So, nice. And this guy can act as a mobile hotspot and serve up to 8 clients. Personally, I wouldn't fractionate the bandwidth that much and try to actually run 8 computers off of this or devices with a mobile Wi-Fi hotspot service, but certainly it's good for 1 or 2 notebooks, tablet, you name it. Next we'll take a look at the browser, the usual excellent Android browser. Supports pinch zooming. We're on our website right now looking at a post on our forum. And since this says Flash 10.3, you can play inline YouTube videos in Flash format if you wish, and we'll take a look at one of those. So now we've got one of our video reviews up here. It's a review of the HTC Flyer tablet. And it's going to play at 360p by default, and if we enlarge it, it'll go up to 480. And we'll enlarge it to full screen. It's looking pretty good, especially for a single-core CPU. Again, it did benchmark very well, and apparently it can handle some Flash content pretty well. So let's take a look at the software that's on here. This is your basic stuff under communications. You've got Facebook for LG. They have their own social networking integration and widgets. Usual Gmail, Gtalk, Mobile IM, voice dialing, voicemail, Twitter for LG. And for news and search, we have Bing, of course, a web browser, finance news VZ Navigator and weather. Interesting. Google Maps not there. And for those of you who are worried that there's no Google Maps pre-installed, you can see we've downloaded it and it's put itself in downloads along with navigation and latitude and places. So you are good to go if you just want to use Google Maps with this Android OS Google phone. For media, we have Amazon Kindle, BitBop, Blockbuster, the usual gallery, and the inescapable Let's Golf 2 that appears on a lot of Verizon Android phones, Rock Band, Rhapsody, Slacker, Smart Share, which is DLNA, TuneWiki, your VCast apps, video player, and the YouTube player. We have 4G mobile hotspot for your tools, a backup assistant from Verizon, Desk Home. Desk Home's kind of cute. Giant flip clock, your calendar, and then access to whatever photographs you have on your SD card. And we have Polaris Office for viewing MS Office documents. So let's take a quick look at the LG's customization of the music player. We've got some Santana going here. And you'll hear the speaker is not that loud, and it's not the sharpest we've ever heard either. That's not going to exactly blow your ears off. The nice thing is when you go home, it plays in the background, and if you want to control it, they have a controller right there. Now how does this compare to the Motorola Droid X2? I've got it right here, and you can see that they're about the same height. The Droid X2 is also almost as wide, but LG is a thicker phone, as long as you exclude the camera hump on the Motorola. They both have the same resolution. The Droid X2 is 3G only. Depends if you've got LTE in your market and if you're interested in LTE. LTE does impact battery life, and definitely if we use the data a lot, we've noticed already on the LG, the battery level will drop pretty quickly. It also gets quite warm too. Now it probably will last longer than the Thunderbolt, being the shortest lived of the LTE phones on Verizon, but we doubt it's going to outlast the Droid Charge in terms of battery performance. In terms of call quality, the Droid X2 wins. Really good call quality and very good reception on 3G and 1X voice network. Obviously, we can't compare LTE because the Motorola doesn't have LTE. But the LG Revolution's voice quality, it's okay. It's just, it sounds a bit digitized and not as sharp and loud and clear as the Motorola phone. And now we'll compare the Revolution on the right with the HTC Trophy as a Windows 7 phone that's going to be coming out on the same day. I'm not sure they're exactly direct competitors, but just so you can see the size difference, this is a 3.8-inch smartphone, the Trophy, versus the 4.3-inch, and this is 3G only, so it doesn't have LTE, and thus it gets to be a bit thinner. So that's the LG Revolution, available on Verizon May 26th for $249 with a 2-year contract. It's Verizon's third LTE phone, and it's a really very nice phone. Gorgeous 4.3-inch display. Very nice build quality, soft touch finish, feels good in the hand, doesn't show too much fingerprints. Besides its good looks and sharp display, it has a reasonably good battery life among LTE phones, which may not say much, but it does have better battery life than the Thunderbolt. Not quite as good as the Droid Charge, however. This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and be sure to visit our website to read the full review of the LG Revolution on Verizon.